Good morning, class 6th. Welcome to the second video of our lesson 12th, Save the Children. In the previous video, we read and understood up to page number 80, and today we will start and continue from there. The right hand side of the para, page number 80. So let's continue. There are many reasons. Many of us come from villages. Some of us were sold by our own parents who didn't have the money to look after a big family. Some parents are tricked into it, replied Santu. When Ja asked, why would a family do that to their own child, Santu replied by saying that there were many reasons. Many of them came from villages. Some of them were sold by their own parents who didn't have the money to look after a big family. So, according to Santu, there are so many students or boys in the group, those who come from the village, and the guardians who didn't have enough money to look after the family, they sell their own children. And according to Santu, some parents are tricked. Means whenever they travel with their children on the train or by any other conveyance, they are tricked and the children are just taken from them. On this, Jay asked, but how can the parents be tricked? I have 8 friends to whom this has happened. Their father or an aunt has contacted by someone they knew. This person promised their family a better life for the children. They promised to send the children to school or give them houses to live in. My friends were then taken away by that person. He later forced them to work in factories. 3 of them were simply sold to other employers. I have 2 other friends whose fathers just left them behind on the train, explained Santu. So when Jay asked, how could the parents be tricked by others? Santu explained by saying that he had 8 friends to whom this had happened. Their father or their aunt was contacted by someone they knew earlier. This person promised their family a better life for the children. So there are so many persons, those who don't earn enough money to look after their family, and there are other tricky persons also in our society who just give them some kind of greed to provide their children a better life. So these kind of people just promise their family a better life for the children, and the guardians or the parents just send their children with them. They promised to send the children to school or give them houses to live in. So such kind of people also promise that they are taking their children to a good school and they will provide them houses to live in. Santu's friends were then taken away by that person. He later forced them to work in factories. So, after taking the children from their parents or guardians or their relatives, they just took them to any kind of factories or any tea stalls, and they just sell them to the employers. And three of the Santu's friends were simply sold to other employers. Santu had two other friends whose fathers just left them behind on the train. What happens to them? Asked Jay. A lot of things and often bad things happen to us. Some of us are made to sing and dance on the streets. You can see children dancing in the middle of the road or selling things at a traffic signal. So I am telling you, children, that you might have seen some children begging on the street, singing and dancing on the street, and selling things at a traffic signal. So, on being asked by Jay what happened to the children which are taken away from their parents, he replied that when such kind of people take the children with them, they do a lot of things. And sometimes, often bad things happen to them. Some of them are made to sing and dance on the street. When they take the children with them, and they sometimes force them to dance and to sing on the streets. And you might have seen children dancing in the middle of the road or selling things at a traffic signal. At times, small children get lost. To survive, they join other children who work, continued Santu. But what kind of work can small children do? Asked a shocked Jay. So, when Santu said that at times small children get sometimes lost, and to survive themselves, they join other children who are on work. When Santu said, Jay asked, but what kind of work can small children do? So Santu wanted to know what kind of work small children could do. On this, Santu smiled and said, there are many things, but most of the things are illegal. He started working in a factory where they made silk. They started he started working in a factory where they made silk. They were made to work in factories that make crackers. They also make them work at the construction sites, and they also make them work at the sari factories. But isn't it dangerous? Inquired Jay. Yes, it is very dangerous. We are forced to work under horrible conditions. So when Jay asked, isn't it dangerous? Then Santu replied, yes, it is very dangerous. But they are forced to work under horrible conditions. We work for long hours, sometimes for 16 hours a day. There are times when we are not given fresh food to eat. I hated being punished if I did something wrong or was not working fast, but we can't do anything. We are all alone in this world, so we stay wherever we get some money, food, and a place to stay. When things get bad, we run away to another place, explained Santu. I have heard that it is against the law to make small children work, but it still happens. Nobody cares for us, he finished. So, they work for long hours, means the children which are taken away from their guardians or parents are sometimes made to work for 16 hours a day. And there are times when they are not given fresh food to eat. Even after taking 60 hours work, such kind of children are not given even the fresh food to eat. And that's why Santu hated being punished if he did something wrong or was not working fast. But they can't do anything because they are in the hands of such kind of cruel people. They are all alone in this world, so they stay wherever they get some money, wherever they get some food and place to stay or live in. Santu also said that when things get bad, sometimes they run away to another place. I have heard that it is against the law to make small children work, but it still happens. Nobody cares for us, he finished. Santu also said that he had heard that it was against the law to make small children work, but it is still happening in our society. And according to Santu, nobody cares for them. Then Jai asked what they ate. Well, it depends on where I am. Sometimes I go hungry, and if I'm working at a tea stall, then the owner usually gives me the leftovers. Sometimes I even have to look for food in the garbage. When Jai asked what they used to eat on this, Santu replied by saying that it depends on where he is. Sometimes he goes hungry, and if he is working at a tea stall, then the owner usually gives him the food that has not been eaten at the end of a meal. Means they are given the leftovers. Dear children, leftovers are the food that has not been eaten at the end of a meal. So this way they just survive themselves. And sometimes when they don't get any food from their masters where they are working, then he even has to look for food in the garbage. So this is the critical situation in which the children live most of the times, those who are staying with such kind of people. Don't you feel lonely? Asked Jai. With tears in his eyes, Santu replied, very much. I miss my family. I hardly remember what they looked like. For a long time, I tried to find them, but I don't remember where they lived. I miss my mother's hugs. So when Jay asked if he didn't feel lonely, on hearing this, Santu replied with tears in his eyes that he missed his families very much. He hardly remembered what they looked like. Santu don't even remember the face of his parents because for a long time he tried to find them, but he didn't remember where they lived. Because Santu was left in the train when he was very young, very young. He rarely understood anything at that stage of his life. So, after a long period of time, he is not able to remember where they used to live. And he missed his mother's hugs also. What are you going to do in Mumbai? Asked Jay curiously. Mumbai is a big city. When it gets cold in Delhi, some of us go to Mumbai. There are millions of children like us. We will find something to do. When Jay asked curiously that what they were going to do in Mumbai, Santu replied that Mumbai is a big city, and when it gets cold in Delhi, some of them go to Mumbai because in Mumbai there are millions and millions of children like Santu. They will find something to do. So, such kind of children go to Mumbai in search of doing something to survive themselves. Soon it was morning and Jay's parents were going to wake up. Santu could be caught for traveling without a ticket and thrown out of the train, so he had to leave. Before Santu escaped, Jay gave him some food that he had in his bag and his favorite toy to remember him by. In the few hours of the night, the whole world of Jay had changed. He was suddenly aware of many things that he had taken for granted. He knew that whenever he saw another poor kid on the street, he would remember Santu. Soon it was morning, and Jay's parents were going to wake up. It was the time for Jay's parents to wake up from their sleep. And Santu could not be caught for traveling without a ticket. Santu could be caught for traveling without a ticket and thrown out of the train. So he had to leave. Since Santu didn't have a traveling ticket, that's why he wanted to leave the train as early as possible because he don't want to be caught by the ticket collector. So before Santu escaped from there, Jay gave Santu some food that he had in his bag, and Jay also gave Santu his favorite toys to remember him by. In the few hours of the night, the whole world of Jay had changed. During the night, Santu and Jay chatted each other. They talked each other whole night, and this talking and chatting with Santu just changed the Jay's whole world. Now he was suddenly aware of many things that he was unaware of earlier. And he also knew that whenever he saw another poor kid on the street, he would remember Santu, because Santu was also such kind of people who just beg on the streets, sing on the streets, dance on the streets, or sell something on the streets. So, children, this lesson is over. What do we learn from this lesson? In this lesson,